Harris had a boogeyman, right? She won't do an interview. She won't do an interview. Now she's doing an interview. Thursday night, CNN's Dana Bash, okay? Look, not that it matters, but Dana is as good as you can ask for, okay? It's just, I don't care what you see, what clips with it. I've known her for years. Her father was a mentor to me when I worked at ABC News. She's the real deal, okay? And everybody's going to be sore about it. And why is she with Walz? And what? Hey, look, you said she wouldn't do an interview. Now she's doing an interview, all right? They're doing an interview. You're still not happy? Look, do I wish that she had done that here? Yeah, I wish one of them, both of them, they should come here. They should be everywhere. I'm greedy. I want the access. But they said she wasn't doing one. Now she's doing one. All right? It also appears that Trump will not be backing out of his debate with Kamala Harris on September 10th, although I don't understand one of the issues that was a sticking point. So you know what I did? I called up the campaign and said, can we have somebody who knows what's going on? And they said, sure. How about Corey Lewandowski? I said, I'd love that. So here he is. Corey Lewandowski, good to see you.
Chris, you didn't wear a tie for me today. I'm very insulted, very insulted.
You know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. Now, Lewandowski, you know this because you were also a popo once, right? People with ties are usually in people's lives for bad reason. So I don't wear a tie because I'm trying to be less like.
Okay, I would take this tie off if I could. You're right.
No, listen, I know it's a clip-on. Let me ask you this. Dana Bash, you know, I know even better. She's a straight shooter. They're doing an interview with her. Does that end the discussion about Harris needing to do more media?
Of course it doesn't, Chris. Doing one interview as a nominee for a major political party running for president of the United States with 70 days to go does not put aside the fact that you should make yourself accessible to the media. And look, when you look at what Kamala Harris has done, she said on the 8th of this month, I hope to have an interview done by the end of the month. And you juxtapose that with where Donald Trump has been. He's done 29 media interviews over that period of time.
Not here.
He continues to answer, but he continues to answer questions. When he goes to the border, when he does these events, he continues to answer questions. So just because Kamala Harris has finally decided that she's going to sit down, I think with Tim, sit down as a team to go and have a conversation with Dana, does not make this the end-all, be-all. It should be the beginning. And Dana is a professional, and I give her credit for the way she conducted the debate with Donald Trump and Joe Biden. That being said, Chris, this candidate has to be held accountable for the things she said in the past and the position she's now changed.
100%. 100%. But this is the game you guys all play. Like I said, you're not going to find a more fair outlet than NewsNation. It's literally our business plan. He hasn't been here. We offered him a town hall on the southern border. Still offer it. I'll go down there with you, Corey. We can walk around. I'll pay for every meal. And so people make selective choices about where to be. Love having you here. Important to have the campaign represented. We know each other a long time, both fair brokers. But this is what politicians do, is they pick and choose on preference. Fair?
Absolutely true. And listen, Chris, what did we see this Sunday when Tom Cotton was on one of the major networks? We had an apologist for Kamala Harris advocating what her positions were. And Senator Cotton pushed back and said, hey, how do you know that? How do you know she's changed her positions? And the truth is that most of the mainstream media has become such an apologist for the left that the candidates don't want to go on those networks anymore because they don't feel they get a fair shake. I love the long form interview you guys do here. It gives people the opportunity to actually have a real conversation and not be stuck to a 2 or 3 minute soundbite.
Listen, I'm with you. That's why I keep making the invitations. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt my feelings. I even keep saying to you guys, it doesn't have to be me, but I don't know why you guys wouldn't want to address the audience that's going to affect this election the most, the independents. We have overweighted independents watching this. Not overweight independents, overweighted, I'm saying, as a function. Now, let me ask you something about the debate. I actually thought that the former president was going to pull out because of what had happened on the Sunday show and his feelings about legacy media. But what is this about the muting of the mics? What am I missing about this? Who cares if the mics are open or not when you're talking or not talking? And why would Trump not want the mics open all the time?
Here's what it is, Chris. Listen, when we negotiated this with the Biden-Harris campaign, by the way, the second name on that campaign was Harris, we agreed to what the debate criteria was going to be. And it was very simple, and they agreed to that. Now, all of a sudden, Kamala's team has come back to us and said, listen, she wants to sit down for the entire debate. She'd like to bring notes for the entire debate. And by the way, we want to make sure that she can keep her microphone on. And when you go back and look at the performance of Vice President Harris in some of the previous debates. She uses the same line where she says, while someone else is talking, "Excuse me, I was talking." We know that that's what she wants to do. She wants to interrupt Donald Trump. And so, look, I think it is fair. Hey, let the candidates answer. Let's not have a back and forth. Let's hopefully talk about some policy matters, because there are serious differences between where these two candidates stand on the major issues facing America. And so let them talk.
Corey, come on. Absolutely let them talk. I would do a debate with no moderators. I believe you should be able to stand up there as adults and let people decide how you treat one another. I know that's a statement against interest as a media guy, but I think it would be the best for people. You get the straightest read. But come on, he's a big boy. He knows how to handle himself. It sounds like he's worried that like Harris is going to like dominate him in the debate. And by the way, her campaign denies what you're saying, that she has these preconditions, she needs to sit down and all that stuff, that you're making that up.
Yeah, but Chris, all of the rules for these debates were agreed to, before they decided to kick Joe Biden to the curb and then coronate Kamala Harris. But she was still part of the original process. I understand she was part of the vice presidential debate process at that time, but those rules were adhered to by her team then.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.